Hey guys, welcome to the YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about something that doesn't really get talked about when we're talking about downsizing in terms of our collections, and that is continuing to buy while you're actually downsizing. Because believe it or not, I've kind of worked out what I'm doing now, and when I started this whole process, I didn't know what I was doing. So I am downsizing, but it's mostly the DVD portion of the collection. Like over here is what I'm downsizing, all the DVDs, because the DVD portion of my collection doesn't get used as much. I'm also selling a lot of VHS tapes, a lot of the older wrestling tapes that I just barely watch. I mean, there's wrestling tapes there I've never watched. There's wrestling tapes there that I may only watch once every 5 years. So to me, this is wasted space. Laserdiscs especially, I'm also going to offload my Laserdisc collection at some point. I may consider offloading the HD DVD portion of my collection. So there's a lot of things where I'm kind of curating what I want in the collection. And likewise, as I've said from the beginning, I don't know what I'm doing with the Blu-ray portion yet, but there will be a time where I need to go through this, and I'm not going to necessarily take everything out of the covers like I am with the DVDs, but there will be things in here where I'm like, why do I have this? Why am I keeping this? So that's how I'm looking at my collection now, especially the Blu-ray and 4K options. And I did go out and buy more because I am going to continue collecting those parts of the collection. So I went out the other week and bought Dante's Peak, which is an import. I can't get this in Australia. I don't believe it was ever released on Blu-ray in Australia. It may have been, but I have never seen a Blu-ray copy of this in Australia. And it's one of my favourite movies. I mean, Linda Hamilton and Pierce Brosnan in this movie are really good. I like it. It's one of my favourites, so I had to have it when I saw it. Another one I bought was Captain America, Brave New World. Now, say what you will about the MCU, but I like my MCU collection. It's up the top there. Let me see if I can actually pan this around and tilt it. Let me just tilt it. But yeah, you can see all the collection up there. That's where the Marvels are up there, or the Marvel collection. But I want to keep my Marvel collection going, and also my DC collection. I am going to continue that as well. I know Constantine's out in JB Hi-Fi in Australia, but haven't been to JB Hi-Fi yet. I don't think I'm ready to walk back into a JB Hi-Fi store, because I know what I'm going to be feeling when I walk in there. I'm going to see all the new releases and say, why don't I have this? So I am looking at Constantine. I am going to add that to the collection, the Keanu Reeves one. That one is going to get added at some point, but I am going to keep the superhero collections going because it's one of my favourite prideful parts of the collection that I show pride in. And yes, say what you will about the current MCU, but I will watch Marvel once or twice a year, like in terms of the back catalogue up to Endgame and, so on. Also picked up What Lies Beneath. Surprised to see this one on 4K Blu-ray. Didn't know about this one, but yeah, I've watched this ages ago, a long time ago, when this was still in the rental stores like Video Easy and Blockbuster. One of my favourite movies as well. Very underrated Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer movie. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. I also picked up Cruising. Now, I've never seen Cruising, and I do have this on Blu-ray somewhere here. I do have it somewhere. I don't know exactly where, but I know I had this previously. Now, you might say, but Jamie, didn't you do this whole lecture about not buying stuff that you haven't watched? Well, yes, I know it makes you sound a bit hypocritical. But with this one, as I'm viewing it, I am looking at this as it's Al Pacino, and it's something that I'm probably going to watch year after year after year after year. Because I am a big fan of Pacino movies. It's the same with Hitchcock. There's Hitchcock 4K movies up there that I haven't watched. Or I have watched them, let me say that. I have watched them, but haven't watched the 4K version of them. Like The Birds, I haven't seen the 4K version of The Birds. I'm sure it is better than the Blu-ray version or whatever, but these are the things I'm talking about. I know at some point I'm going to watch that, and the next time I watch that movie, or make my way around to it, or make my way around to Cruising in the first time I'm viewing it, I know it's something I'm going to watch over and over again because it's young Pacino. I know I'm going to watch a Pacino movie. And then the next three, I had to buy the steelbooks. Now, I know these are coming out in Australia for a lot cheaper than what I paid. I think I paid maybe $80 each for these steelbooks because they're imports. I know they're coming out at JB Hi-Fi for like $26 or whatever. I know that. But I needed to have the steelbooks because it's Clint. I have to have Power Rider. I need Outlaw Jersey Wales, and I need Dirty Harry steelbooks. And why do I need the steelbooks for those? Like, I could have waited and got them in Australia. Well, the reason for that is when I look at my collection, even the original collection, the movies I tend to go back to the most are Clint Eastwood movies. I love Clint Eastwood and also Western. Like, I like Westerns as well, but in terms of Clint is someone I will go back and watch a Clint Eastwood movie. It could be on like, it could be halfway through a movie on like some network in Australia, and I will sit there and watch it from the middle to the end because it's Clint Eastwood, you know? So when I look at Outlaw Josie Wales, I think I've watched this a long time ago. I haven't watched this in about a decade. You know, I have watched it, but I haven't watched it in about a decade, so that can be a nice little revisit in 4K quality. Dirty Harry, one of my favourite Clint Eastwood movies, had to have that on Steelbook. And Pale Rider's an underrated one, I would say. I mean, you know, very underrated. I think it's a decent movie, you know, but it's something that doesn't get as much recognition as Clint's other westerns. But it's one of my, it's, you know, it's a decent movie. It's one I used to watch all the time back in the day. Also, Two Mules for Sister Sarah. I haven't got that on 4K yet, but I am looking at when that gets a 4K release, maybe picking that one up. Another one of my favourite one of his. Also, Joe Kidd, I believe, was another one he was in. Clint made a lot of westerns, and I've got a lot of westerns over here on 4K. I don't know if you can see that. Here's my western section up here on 4K. I've got the Good, Bad, and the Ugly, or the Dollars series. I've got, I don't know if you can see that because of the glares on it, but it's, what else is here? High Plains Drifter, very underrated movie from Clint. High Plains Drifter. What else is here? You can see a few John Waynes and also, you know, Magnificent Seven and stuff like that. The Searchers, Bright Rare Bravo. Oh, I've got two music for Sister Sarah. I do have that. I didn't even know that I had this. See, this is the stuff we learn in these videos. There is stuff I've bought that I didn't even know that I had this one. Well, there you go. I've already had two meals for Sister Sarah. So there you go. I've also got Unforgiven right next to it. There's Unforgiven right next to it. Let me put that back in. And what's that one up at the end here? Don't worry about that. But yeah, in terms of my Western sections, I always revisit Clint. And I always revisit his filmography. So when it comes to buying these ones, these are something I know I'm going to watch over and over and over again. So that's why I paid a bit extra to get them right there and then, the steelbook versions. And it's also like a cool little collector's edition. They're limited edition steelbooks from America. And also there's artworks in the center. I don't know if you can see them. They've got artworks in the center. But for me, that is worth the price I paid for them. That little collector's experience is worth it rather than just a standard cover. But yeah, we don't talk about buying while we're downsizing. And I thought it was worth showing the contrast of you can downsize parts of your collection. You can say, you know what? I'm going to put, I mean, I've got the Shawshank Redemption on 4K up there, so I don't know what I'm going to do with this one, but I will probably just keep this folded down like I have been doing with the other stuff. But, you know, I might say, okay, I want to keep a version on DVD of the Shawshank Redemption, fold that one down, but the Blu-ray and the 4K are the ones I go to. Now, why would I keep that? DVD works better for stuff like CRT TVs, you know? That's why I would keep a DVD copy of it instead of just chucking it out. And, you know, there's also stuff here that I've got in my collection that I'm sure is built for 4:3 format. Like, you know, let's have a look at Kitchen Nightmares. I'm sure that's 4:3. Yeah, 133:1. Did you see that reflex then? I just caught it. But yeah, 133:1, so 4:3, you know, the old television sort of look. So, you know, I can kind of, DVDs at a certain portion were built for the SD generation, the SD televisions. And that's where I think it might work best. But in terms of saying that, I'm not picking DVDs off my shelf to watch that often. I mean, outside of the occasional few, like I've got stuff here. I don't know if I can show some of these because some of the covers are a bit out there, like Journey Among Women. I haven't watched that movie, but I know it's an Australian movie, but it's a bit out there, but from the trailers I've seen, it looks pretty cool. It looks like a pretty decent Australian movie. And I am big on my Australian collections. As you know, I've got a big Australian collection up here, along here. So I am big on my Australian collections. I've got to have Australian movies in my collection. I figure the other parts of the world can collect other parts of their what's the thing I'm trying to look for? Catalogs. But for me, I need to have the Australian catalogue. That's where I show my pride in having Australian films in my collection. But yeah, I thought I'll just do this update. I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point. I'm just kind of making this video up as I go along, but I think it would be cool to just show contrast, you know, just show that I can still buy stuff while I'm downsizing. And it's not necessarily I'm just going to pack everything down and put it in boxes. There will be stuff in my collection, in the Blu-ray portion of the collection, where I'm just like, why am I keeping this out? Like, there is stuff here that I'm just like, why do I need to have, what's this one? What Men Want. Never seen it, but I might ask myself, why do I have this on the shelf on display at all times? And that might be something that eventually down the line I fold down and take out of its cover and have folded down or whatever, or maybe sell it. That said, I'm certainly not folding down. If I can get it out here, it's pretty jammed in. I'll try. Or I can just push this around. The Dirty Harry collection here. Now, I do have the 4K of the first Dirty Harry, but the other 4 ain't out yet, so I will keep the box set on the shelf, and it's one of my favorites. Same with a lot of Clint Eastwood movies. I might create a subcategory, which is just Clint Eastwood's filmography. I have done that with Tarantino in the past. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I am still figuring this out. And I don't have the solution or the answers. And I'm sure some of you guys will be like, well, this is no help. Why am I watching a 10-minute video of this guy and he doesn't even know what he's doing? Well, when you start this collection and start this sort of process, you don't actually know what you're going to keep out. You don't actually know what you're going to be like, no, I can't fold that down. Like, there's stuff here where I just have, I mean, what's straight here that I can look at? RG in the house, like that wouldn't get folded down, I don't believe. I may very well fold it down to save space. But, I mean, this here, I wouldn't be donating it again. I wouldn't be throwing it. This is something that I would be like, yeah, Ali G, I remember when this movie came out. Gee, that makes me sound old. When did this movie come out? I do remember when it first came out, and everyone was saying Ristekpa, because it was cool in the schoolyards to say Ristekpa, because Ali G was that. People know Borat, and people kind of know Bruno, but in terms of his characters, it's mostly Ali G and Borat that get a lot of the notoriety, especially Borat. But when did this movie come out? It came out in 2002. Jeez, I'm old. But you know what I mean? Like, I remember this movie, and it's one of those movies that I kind of enjoy, you know? But I'm sure you've heard me rant for long enough in this video. I'm sure I'm just giving you guys an update because I know I've been promising that I was going to do more of these. And yeah, I'm going to put my hair up because my hair looks atrocious in this video. What do you think, guys? Do you guys prefer the ponytail, or do you guys prefer the messy hair that makes me look like, you know, I'm going to put it in a little bun at the back, in fact. Little bun. A little funny thing. Do you guys like the messy hair, or do you actually like it tied back? I don't know. But, you know, I just wanted to make this video just to let you guys know I'm still here. I'm still making videos. I'm still doing the process, still trying to figure out. I have probably about 100 plastic sleeves left to go, and then I've got to buy more. And yeah, I am using those Terrafold ones that I have to, they're expensive as to import in Australia, but they are the way Serial at Midnight did it, and they are the way that a lot of collectors have done it. There's also a guy who collects CDs who's been doing it, that I've been watching his videos, and he's been saying, for the ones he doesn't care that much about, you fold those down, but then next to it you have the ones that he cares about, like, you know, the Queen albums and whatever he's into. But I've been watching a lot of those videos about other collectors, how they do theirs. I've been watching other collectors who say, oh, I'm doing this process, but this is how I'm doing it. Because we learn from each other. This is the thing about being collectors. And this is what we lose track of when we start competing with each other and start saying, oh, mine's better than yours. You know, this is what we lose track of. I learn from Serial at Midnight. I learn from Jeff, Films at Home, you know, or I'm sure he doesn't go by Films at Home anymore, but I still call him Films at Home. That's what I know him as. And I know people say, oh, but you support Campier. You know what? I do watch John Campier, because John Campier and Robert on there in particular, Robert is really knowledgeable about physical media. He collects it as well. But, you know, Campier will say, hey, this drive is going out of manufacturing. This is another blow to physical media, which he did say Pioneer and are getting out of the the drive space. So that came out from Campier. I learned that from Campier the past week, which is kind of a blow because they make a lot of rip things for the computer. You know, you can very easily install a Libre drive or whatever it's called, and back up your copies, your physical discs. You know, you can back them up pretty easily with that. Snatch, what is Snatch? Oh, I've never watched that movie, never watched it, but you know, this is part of the fun. Like, we learn from other collectors. I learn from other collectors. To say, like, I'm not watching anything, like, there are collectors who just want to make videos and just want us to come on here and, you know, we knock each other all the time. We all joke around and say, like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, or how could he do that? But at the end of the day, I try to watch everything I can. Like, if it's a new collector who's on the scene and he has 100 views, I will say, yeah, I want to check this guy out. I want to see what he's about. I want to see what his collection's like how a new collector is, you know? those are the ones that I see as fun. If it has 100 views and 10 likes, those are the videos I click on, because they're the ones that are, well, A, they're probably not monetized yet, and I can get kind of an unfiltered opinion about some things. I can see like, okay, they will learn stuff from me and the big collectors and say, oh, I don't want 100,000 Blu-rays or whatever. I mean, I think this is 4,000 Blu-rays, but you know, they might say, I don't want that many. Like, why would I want that many? I want a reflection of what I like. And I can learn from them and say, yeah, you know what? That is a good point. What are the 10 movies I like the most? I mean, Titanic's definitely in there. I mean, I've mentioned Titanic all the time. I mean, there's a lot of movies that I say like, oh, this will be my top 10. Clint Eastwood movies will be my top 10, you know. There would be a lot of times where it switches from month to month. But Titanic's always been in there. Um, Blues Brothers has to be in there, and Austin Powers as well, The International Man of Mystery, the first one. So there's some movies that would be in there, but in terms of my top 10, I think it's more about showing a focus on what is important. Now, I don't need to have all this on display at any given time. There are movies I have not even watched here. But when I look around at this collection, I look at it and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to fold down all of this. This is unique, and this is something that has a vibe to it. And sometimes I just like to come in this room, sit down, not do anything in particular, not film a video, not to put stuff in sleeves, just to come in here and sit and just take it in. And that's part of the fun as well. Like, you know, I can do that, and I can sit in here and just look at what I'm collected, look at the spoils for all my hard work throughout the years, you know, because this is what I put it into. And yeah, I'm sure you guys are probably sick of hearing me rant at this point about just anything. But you know, I just wanted to make a video, and I didn't know what I was going to make the video about. I just knew I was going to say, oh, I bought while downsizing, but I didn't know the way this video was going to go. So yeah, let me know if this video worked for you. I might do more of these, just, you know, random rants. I don't know what we'll call them. But there is stuff where I'm still figuring this stuff out, and I don't have a solution that works for everyone. Your solution might be different to mine. My solution is different to yours. At the end of the day, it's our collections. It's my collection. If what I do in my collection doesn't work for you, great. I hope you can take something from what I'm doing and implement in what you're doing. Likewise, if something in your downsizing doesn't work for me, I would like to think that I can take something away from what you've put onto YouTube if you're another YouTuber. I don't believe in the conflict of this thing. And yes, I did mention Slipcover Steve in my last video. He did make a critique video of me, and likewise, I could see the value in having his opinion about what I'm doing. And likewise, I did have Serial at Midnight in the comments, who also was saying this is great, like, you know, this, you're going to make it work for you. And I know people look at like Serial at Midnight because he's a bigger YouTuber in the space, or even Jeff, and look at us and say, oh, well, they're talking for all of us. No, I am not talking for everyone. I don't claim to talk for everyone. And, you know, I don't want to talk for everyone. I want a number of opinions. You know, the thing about the physical media space is there's enough room for everyone. And I know I knock a lot of YouTube channels in my past where I say, well, you know, the frame by frame comparisons, and we'll just do this little test and put this thing against the screen, this $10,000 machine, and see the colors that we get. You know, those are silly to me. How are you enjoying a film? When I talk about True Lies, people said, oh, you can tell Arnie's waxy in there. I could tell that as well. That's why I keep the DVD version around as well. But when you watch the movie, it's enjoyable. And that's the thing, like, as long as it's enjoyable, like, Terminator 2 was not enjoyable to me because there was so much change with that, the color grade wise, that it kind of ruins your nostalgia for that movie in terms of the 4K. But, you know, there are things where if you're a collector and do that, that's fine. Like, it's not my cup of tea. I don't even drink tea, but, you know, not my cup of tea, but it's great that it works for you. And that's what I'm talking about. Let's just be positive in this community for once. I'm just sick of attacking and being attacked, and we all attack each other, and mine's bigger than yours and yours is bigger than mine. Who gives a crap? We're all doing the same thing. We're all talking about our love of physical media, and, you know, our love of movies, because, you know, physical media is consumerism, like, kind of, if you put as much into it as I have. But, you know, we can all learn from each other. We can all take tips. Like, I've been also ripping a lot to my hard drives, and I've been backing up stuff. And I'm watching people who do NAS projects and doing stuff like that, like how to do those. Or I don't really want a NAS because then you kind of have to have network attached storage and have Wi-Fi and all that. And I don't like that. I like having my phone as my primary connection to the internet in terms of a lot of stuff I do. So I have been looking at hard drives, but I'm also looking at having a bigger portion of, like, I don't want a desktop one, but I've been having lots of little ones. So 5 terabytes at a time, you can get those SanDisk ones. And I've been labeling them as like, okay, drive one can be all the wrestling. I can rip all of my wrestling Blu-rays and all my wrestling DVDs that I haven't even tried with the Blu-rays yet. But I know I can rip all my wrestling DVDs, all my wrestling documentaries, and probably fit it on a 5 terabyte hard drive. What does that say? But I'm also keeping the discs because I'm nostalgic for the disc. I'm nostalgic for getting the disc out sometimes and having it there. Likewise, if I need to back things up. But yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to talk to you guys and, I don't know, give you an update. I don't know, talk a bit, hear myself talk, put up my hair. What do you think about it? I mean, I've got it in the, like, kind of man bun at the moment. But you saw how it was at the beginning. It's like kind of messy. And, you know, also a bit of a thing on my neck. I gotta get that operated on soon. I mean, it's nothing dangerous. It's just the old school thing of a bit too much abuse I put my body through in my 20s, probably. But yeah, I don't know. It's a lipoma, I think they call it, but it's nothing. Yeah, I don't know. But let me know what you think. Did you take anything away from this video? And I will catch you in the next one. I'm just going to make these semi-regularly. And yeah, peace. Catch you in the next one. And I don't know, like, subscribe, drop a comment, go back and watch the older stuff. I don't know.